I'm with Bobby Valentine, the great. I mean, probably played every sport on the planet, could have played every sport on the planet, but great baseball player. If you were old enough to be able to remember when he played, had speed, had it all, power. But Bobby Valentine, you're putting together a great auction for the Jackie Robinson Foundation for Sacred Heart. Tell me a little bit about one of your favorite item. Give me an item or two that's your favorite in that collection that you've decided to auction off for charity.
Well, of course, the game used uniform from 1997, the year that Jackie Robinson's number 42 was retired by Major League Baseball with the Jackie Robinson patch on the sleeve. Of course, that's one of my favorites. And 97 was really the year that the group of Mets started coming together that led to a playoff run in 99 and then a World Series in 2000. So yeah, that 97 uniform is something, yeah, Kevin Nealon, who's a alum of Sacred Heart University and a star of Saturday Night Live with millions of followers, did a fantastic painting of Jackie Robinson, a portrait that is on this site and being auctioned off. That's spectacular. And then there's some Japanese things that people never seen.
People forget you had an incredible run in Japan as a manager. I mean,
I don't forget. Yeah, because it was 7 years of my life, and we won a lot of games. We won a championship there. I was the first foreign person to ever manage in Japan, and I was the first one to ever win a Japanese World Series, as I'd like to call it. They only call it an Asian series. And so, yeah, some of those things are really cool. That one of a kind items.
What's the difference between managing those players they're great players over there? What's the difference? What's the main difference between managing those players and players here?
Well, when I took the job, and the guy that hired me, the general manager who hired me, was asking me about my first press conference and what I was going to say, he said, and let me give you some advice. Please don't say what the American managers say when they get a job. And that is, we only have two rules. One is show up on time, and the other is always hustle. Because if you said that about a Japanese team, people will think that you had two heads and you never saw them play, because every player shows up not on time. They show up early, and every player hustles every single time they're on the field. I think that's a pretty big difference. Yeah.
Huge. Now, I got to ask you one quick question about these new Mets. Because all of a sudden, I love it. Our auction's going on, bidcx.com. Lots of Mets stuff, which but now the Mets are hot. They're the talk of the town. What do you think about the new ownership? And, what's your overall take about this kind of opportunity for the Mets to kind of find a new chapter in New York City?
When I was managing in Texas, an old owner who happened to lose a lot of his money because the price of oil went down so drastically in the 80s, sold to a new group, and that was headed by George W. Bush. And you can imagine the excitement in Texas at that time, from a guy who's losing his money to a guy who is ready to make a lot of money. I think in the same situation and same vein, many years later, Fred was great. Nelson AA was great. They were good shepherds of the franchise, and now they're handing it over to a guy that I think is not only passionately committed, as Fred was, but is also one of the most successful guys that I've ever met. And if he doesn't turn this franchise into the franchise that me, as an ex-Met and a Met fan, and all those other Met fans and ex-Met players, coaches, and managers wanted to be, I'd be very surprised. I think it's going to go right to the top, not with an express route, but it will be done methodically and properly. And if the players that they get stay healthy, and the people that he recruits to run that team stay healthy, I think the New York Mets are going to be at least equal to being the team in town.
I'll tell you, if it was me, one of the things, I mean, obviously there's nothing in baseball you couldn't do, but imagine having you on some kind of level of scouting. You were always a great player, developer, but also
Yeah.
you were always able to find talent and see talent that other people couldn't see. You still think you have the eye for that sort of thing? And is it hard to come by in this day and age with all the analytics?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's so necessary anymore because you have the analytics. But somebody who has the eye, the analytics kind of sharpens their vision, is all it does. It helps those who can't see, and those who can already see better. So, I think there's a place for the gray-haired guy, but I have no time nor energy to be doing any scouting. I think the Mets are going to have a great organization, and I'm going to be supporting them all the way.
I love that. So your message to Met fans is be patient, but there are good things right around the bend, and they got the right owner. They got the right owner.
Oh, absolutely. You could be excited that when the holiday season comes around and the new year comes around, that the Mets are going to take on a different persona.
Last thing, 2000 World Series. Obviously, the Yankees winning that World Series, but one of the great World Series, one of the great moments in New York that I can remember. There's a bunch of stuff on the auction from that World Series that you were able to donate, which we're very grateful, and it's all going to a good cause. But what's the one moment in that World Series that you remember the most for Met fans, as a positive that maybe people don't realize, don't know?
Wow. There were great positives. That those games were amazingly exciting. When Benny hits the ball into the gap and we win Game 3, there's nothing like winning a World Series game. I wish we won 4, obviously, but we did win that one, and I hope my video didn't go off too much. That was just a phone call coming up. But the idea of being at home plate for me and shaking hands with Joe Torre. And Joe Torre was so kind and generous with his time and energy to be part of SHUIM 42 and to donate his time, but also some of his autographs and memorabilia that are on the site being auctioned off. It was a great memory. That's all I could say. The city was abuzz. Everyone had a great deal of excitement, and I think the Met fans should be proud. I mean, to lose to a team that had won 14 straight World Series World Series games, and taking them to the brink in every game. I know there's no award for second place, but I think that that team should be recognized a little more than it was, because they were a terrific group of guys.
And overachieved, which you love. I mean, and those games were so close. I mean, my highlight in that series was flagging the bus down, Bobby. Because I remember you were doing a sign with you and Joe. I don't know if you remember
Yes.
that. We're doing
Yes.
a thing with you and Joe, which I thought was the coolest thing, but I don't think
Yes.
Joe thought it was that cool. Like Joe had his game face on, and I'm like, what did I do here? I've got Mets here, I've got Yankees here. And then
People are going to see us together. Oh God, we're enemies. Yeah.
It was a little weird. I'm not going to go further than that because I know Joe loves you and I know you guys have a great rapport, but competition is competition. And there was a lot riding on those games, probably more for the Yankees if they lost, I would imagine. And then afterwards, we're going to Modell's to do a promotion. And I realized we don't even have a car. We can't get a cab. And you flagged the bus down that was out of service. And the bus takes us up to, that was unbelievable.
The guy stopped, and that really epitomized what the city was all about. Everyone knew what was going on. I was standing on a street corner, and the bus driver said, "Oh, wait a minute, that's Valentine with the Mets." And I think he said he was a Yankee fan, but he still stopped and picked us up. So if you could recreate that time and space right now for the energy and the love that everyone had of the same thing, they might not have been loving each other so much, but they were actually loving baseball and the idea that the event was going to actually happen in their lifetime. Let's bring back that feeling right now. It would be cool.
Absolutely. Go to bidcx.com, scholarships, helping the Jackie Robinson Foundation. It's a great cause. And I think it's one of my favorite auctions I've ever done, because I know that because I want to bid and buy half of the stuff. There's so many unique items it's really one of the most unique auctions I've ever seen and put together. Bobby, it's a pleasure always doing stuff with you. You're always putting back in the community. I can't remember a more committed New York City guy than you. Thank you for everything, and we'll catch up on another side of it, where the next venture. And for all you out there, thanks for joining in. Bidcx.com. You'll love this stuff. Put down a couple bids. We appreciate it. Thank you.